What is up, movie friends? I know it has been a long time since I have uploaded the video, but I'm back. And today we are going to be talking about a good one. It is the newest Netflix original. I don't know what that means anymore, but it's the newest movie to be exclusively on Netflix, and it is Home Team. Yes, one of the greatest setups, plots, whatever you want to call it, for a movie in recent memory. Just kidding. So like I said, this is Home Team. It is the new movie starring Kevin James as Sean Payton, the now ex-head coach of the New Orleans Saints, because he literally just retired this week. The week the movie came out, he retired. And that's probably the funniest thing about the movie. So yeah, this movie is about Sean Payton, but it's only about him during the time, I think it was like 10 years ago, 2012, 2013, like right after they won the Super Bowl, where he was kind of banned from the NFL for a season for putting bounties on people. Like literally, I guess he kind of made incentives for his players to hurt opposing players on the other team. And then so what he did during the suspension was go back to his hometown or where his family lived to coach his son's football team. And then they cast Kevin James. So clearly this is going to be a comedy. It's produced by Happy Madison, who has done all the Adam Sandler universe movies. And while this does not star Adam Sandler, it does star Kevin James, one of his best buds. But instead of going to Hawaii or some other remote place, they just go to a very rundown high school, middle school. I guess I didn't really pay attention that close to know what grade they're in. He does go to a football, high school, middle school team to coach them. And yeah, it kind of plays out exactly how you might expect a Kevin James movie would go. They do put a comedic spin on it, but they don't really tell that many jokes. Like, I can't think of a single joke that kind of sticks out. Maybe that's because none of them were funny, or it's just because they don't do it whatsoever. Like, the first 3 minutes of the movie is just kind of like some really weird... it's just showing like different things from Sean Payton's career, like him at the Super Bowl, him with Drew Brees, but it's just like Kevin James as Sean Payton kind of superimposed into all these photos and videos, and it takes you out of the movie almost immediately. And Rob Schneider's there. He's kind of like the new stepdad of the family. I want to touch on him for a second because he lives and is married to Sean Payton, Kevin James's... I keep on wanting to say Kevin Smith, almost wanting to say Kevin Smith, and it's Kevin James. But yeah, he married the ex-wife. He drives like a hatchback from like 2001, which would like be 15, it'd be like 10 years old in this movie. But they live in a mansion. They literally live in a mansion. They live in Sean Payton's old mansion. So there's that's not realistic. The other part that's not realistic is this school that his son goes to, Sean Payton's son goes to, looks like the most rundown, like, piece of crap school I've ever seen. There's like 10 kids on the football team. And then the next like hour of the movie is him just literally at his son's football games on the sidelines, just kind of reacting. And everyone else in the crowd and everyone else on the sideline is also reacting. And then it's like nothing happens. It's just there's no drama. You don't know how exactly the movie's going to end, but you know that it's going to try and be some feel-good thing because it's him trying to reconnect with his son because he hasn't seen his son since he's been a football coach. Like, I don't know if that aspect is true. I would assume when you're a rich football coach, yeah, you have to put a lot of time into the football itself, but you're rich. You can like have your son be there on the sidelines with you whenever you want. So much time is spent watching these young children play football that are just terrible at football. There's also this other scene where there's a kid on the football team that like likes this girl, but she doesn't know who he is, so the entire team goes to serenade her for some odd reason, and then they lift these little lanterns up in the air, the ones that like float or whatever, and it lands on a tree, burns down the tree, and then falls onto this girl's mom's car and then burns the car. And then they just never go back to it. And I don't understand the purpose of it. That was just like this one weird little thing they tried to break all the football up with, and it did not work at all. I almost forgot to mention Taylor Lautner. Yes, that Taylor Lautner from Grown Ups 2. Just kidding. He is in that, but from the Twilight series. You know the werewolf that's also in love with Bella, but also needs to be in love with her baby that's still inside of her. I don't know. But yeah, he's in this movie as the head coach that is kind of in charge of the football team before Sean Payton gets there. And don't know why he was there. I know he's probably friends with all those guys from the Happy Madison stuff. It didn't feel necessary to kind of throw him in there. Not that he is unnecessary or necessary one way or the other, but it could have been anybody, not one of the more famous people from the early 2010s. I didn't really look too much into the real story, but Sean Payton's son had to be on like a really good football team. Like, I just don't believe he was on some piece of crap. There's just no way. But yeah, like I said, this movie is not funny. It is actually pretty terrible. It's boring to watch because of how much doesn't really happen. I think Kevin James can be funny. I can't say I like the Grown Ups movies, but he can do the funny fat guy thing, you know? I almost said funny fart guy. There is one point in this movie that really takes a turn, which I would almost say is the climax of the movie, because it's at that football game where it's like, oh, this is the part we have to win. Let's see what happens. What do they do to win? And literally, everyone just starts puking because of some food that Rob Schneider's character gave them. Rob Schneider looks like crap in this movie, by the way. Haven't seen him in a while. Yikes. Anywho, back to the puke. There's just so much puking. Puking isn't funny. Puking, it really doesn't gross me out, but it just had no purpose being in this movie. It felt so far out of left field that it just completely like plunged this movie down the drain, which was just a little bit below average and just boring and unfunny for a comedy in this realm, and it just took a dive. Yeah, I would not recommend this Netflix movie, even if you're a football fan, even if you're like a New Orleans Saints fan and you want to be like, let's go see Sean Payton's like biopic. It's just a weird little time in his life that is just inconsequential. But yeah, I'm going to give this movie a red vine. It's garbage. Don't watch it. But thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I know it's the first one in a while, like I said. I really hope and plan to make a lot more of these. So please make sure you subscribe so you can see every video that I upload as soon as it comes up. See you next time, movie friends.